Okay, great. Hi, Lulawa. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, busy, I guess, like everyone else. Have you been
Yeah,
busy lately?
very busy and not managing.
Uh-huh. Would you like to do this new idea of to do a productivity interview?
Of course, it's much needed.
Uh-huh. So what I thought I could do is maybe I don't know if you describe your productivity scenario, which typically leads to some form of dilemma. So you probably have some kind of issue and we need to identify the productivity dilemma. And then I'm trying to find hopefully some solutions. So that's the idea.
Okay,
I don't know
right.
whether that makes sense.
Yeah. So productivity dilemmas. One is a huge task where to get started,
Okay.
and another would be uh, too many tasks,
Yeah.
just how to get on with it, really.
Yeah. That
Mm.
that makes sense. I mean, that's actually I was thinking of this beforehand. I thought quite often it is not knowing where to start. It is also about maybe not deciding on the priorities properly. Sometimes it could be that you don't actually want to start. You know exactly what you have to do, but you don't actually want to start because of motivation problems. Do you think it's that or
Yeah,
more
yeah.
or
That
both
also
or
both.
it's both
Um,
typically? Yeah.
yeah.
hmm So the best probably is to then start with the first one, where to start. And I
Mm.
guess how do you do it normally, but when you want to do something?
I prioritize based on deadlines.
hmm
So if I have a deadline very soon, then I have no way out basically, and I'll just go with the closest deadline.
Yeah, that's the sort of firefighting mode, I call it. The
Yeah,
advantage of the firefighting mode is you don't really need to worry about anything else other than firefighting. But the
exactly.
drawback is you don't feel very well. You don't feel good because you know exactly that you're falling behind with other things. So
Exactly.
ideally, we should try to avoid the firefighting mode. Yeah, it's all about somehow being proactive, but that's
Yeah.
difficult. So the main problem is that if you wanted to write down all your tasks, you end up with 100 or 200 odd things, and that's just not possible. So what I typically recommend is the GTD methodology, getting things
hmm
done. I don't know, have you heard of GTD at all?
I've heard of it, but I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a complete system, and I by no means actually apply all of it to myself, but what I like is that it is flexible. You can grab the things that work best for you. I kind of use something I call GTD Lite, which is just a sort of minimum version. And really, the most important thing, in my opinion, is to not do to-do lists, but actually look at projects. So the
Mm.
projects are the bigger picture. And ideally, you find all the projects that are relevant to you right now. And even that could be a huge number. Are you thinking of work-related productivity, presumably at the moment?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And would there be a focus on, you are an academic, right? So would
Yep.
it be teaching and research, or only one of them? Or what's the situation?
Let's say research, which we can split into
Uh-huh.
grant applications and also writing papers.
Uh-huh. So yeah, best probably
So
would be
these are,
to uh-huh,
mm,
come out with a list of projects. I mean, I might just give you a couple of minutes and then I'll check in with you again to see how
okay.
you're doing with your projects. Shall we do that?
Yes, let's do
Okay,
that.
great. Okay, great. So actually just we've just been identifying that there's a really big project which is a grant proposal and that's been recently rejected, right? And then the question is that a project or how would we go about a follow-up action perhaps? Well, in my opinion, that is an ongoing project because your aim is to get that thing funded somewhere, right? And I
Yeah,
think you've invested presumably a lot of time, have you?
yep, I have.
Yeah, and that time is should not be done for nothing, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's ongoing basically, and it seems quite high priority because you've invested so much time. And then you
Yeah.
need to basically what you need to do is for all the projects, and that's the GTD methodology, to identify the next step, the next action. That next
Oh,
step can be really small. That's fine. It's actually quite good if it's small, because then we can follow the 2-minute rule in GTD, which is if something takes 2 minutes, just do it, you know.
Okay.
So I give you a bit more time so to think about that and also apply that to your other projects, right?
What if nothing takes 2 minutes?
If then you break it and then maybe find the next action which is the shortest and break it further down. I would say. Okay. Cool.
So could we say half an hour? Is that a reasonable time frame rather than 2 minute thing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, half an hour or 20 minutes is very reasonable. It's just sometimes if you identify naturally something that only takes 2 minutes, then just do it, you know.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Okay, cool. I'll give you a bit more time.
Right.
Okay, so great. How has it been then, Lulua? Have you found some projects?
Yes, and just listing them has made me overwhelmed slightly with how much I have to do.
Okay.
So I've split my projects into 3 categories.
Right.
The first is grant proposals. The second is research in general, which involves writing papers, supervising students and so on, reviewing their work, but also writing and doing actual research. And finally, a big administrative project that I need to do as well.
That sounds like a lot to do. Yeah.
Indeed.
So you said it makes you feel stressed, actually, or anxious.
Yeah.
That's exactly not the purpose of this exercise. So something must have gone wrong. And I really would love to find out how we could change that. I sometimes, and I think I've mentioned this to you in the past, let me just find this in my notes here, and the viewers can actually see this on the slides. The boss versus slave mode idea. Do you remember that? So what I think is when you do the lists, I mean, different people feel differently about it. I mean, I generally, when I write my list, it makes me actually feel good afterwards. I'm not sure why that is. I find it kind of reassuring when I've captured everything. So at least then I know I'm not likely to forget anything, but I'm completely ignoring the fact that maybe it's too much. And I actually tell myself I'm the boss right now. I'm just writing down these things and I will delegate it to someone. So the slave later, they will do it, you know, just in that moment at least. Is that helpful to you at all, or how do you feel about writing?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Perhaps the problem is at the moment is I'm not going into detail with the projects. So just listing the project as a whole is not helpful because I still don't know where to start.
And I think there's another problem because these projects we're listing here, from my own experience, these are massive projects, and maybe there is too much. You know, might we have to become less ambitious? Is there any way some of it could be reduced, or what do you think? Because it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, I don't really see that as an option at the moment.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, because we are keen. We want to move on with our careers, and it's all interesting stuff. I mean, what can you do if it's too much? You could try to delegate, but that's very difficult with research typically, unless you've got some ideal students around or collaborators.
I mean, I do have means to delegate some things. I just need to think about each project in more detail to figure out what can be delegated and what I would need to do myself. And that requires time to just sit and think about each project.
Yes. So is there some kind of natural priority within the projects, actually? I mean, what's more important, a grant proposal or a paper, categorically?
At the moment, a paper.
At
the moment. I mean, the priority, changes every now and then, but at the moment it's papers.
Because the idea is if you build up a good record of papers, then you're more likely to get in the grants. Exactly. On the other hand, if you never have time to write grants, then you never get funding, and then maybe you can't reach the next level of productivity. Yeah. It's a huge problem.
Exactly. Yeah. And that funding can be used to write more papers.
I I mean, I think as an academic, if we are on our own, unless we are somehow either a genius or working flat out day and night, it is probably very difficult to achieve this. So my feeling would be try as much as you can to network and to delegate and to collaborate and find people who are in a very similar position and there's equally, yeah, not desperate, that's not the right word, but keen to do more and somehow not able to do that right now.
Yeah.
Cool, very interesting. I mean, we could do a lot more, but what I just thought maybe to finish this off, can you at least find one project where there is the famous 2-minute task that you could actually do straight after this interview and it will make you feel better? Any of those projects?
Yep.
What might it be?
So it's a research collaboration.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to write an email to restart the collaboration.
Oh, that rings a bell. Would I be involved in this by any chance?
You are indeed.
Excellent. Great.
So yeah, I keep procrastinating this. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
All I need to do is just send the email to kickstart the collaboration after the winter break.
That sounds great. And then I will promise I'll reply if I have to. And what I also thought is maybe, do you want to touch base again in a week's time just to see whether there's been any movements within your projects? Anything else?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Has it been helpful at all? A little bit?
Yes, I think at least I'm facing, the tasks, sort of. I've got them in front of me. I do need to spend more time to write a more detailed list of what needs to be done, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time we can talk about this idea of a review. A regular review would actually sort of make it a bit more natural and would maybe remove that kind of effort that you have right now to identify all the things and losing time over it and then worrying that you can't actually do the work. Maybe we can talk about that next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for your time. It's been experimental, but I have enjoyed it and I think it's been useful for both of us.
Agreed.
Hopefully for anyone else who is interested in what I would call mindful productivity.
Indeed.
Thanks, Luluwa, then. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.